Hey everyone, it's Scott from Heroic Studios Gaming. How's it going? Coming at you again from my little cave of a workspace here. Making a video today talking about the Lone Wolf video games. I don't know how to describe them. They're apps on your phone that you can use to be able to play through the Lone Wolf storybooks. Two of which are the actual books, and then one of which is actually kind of like a video game, which they apparently have turned into a Switch game, which is interesting to note. But it's mostly a book, and then occasionally we'll have some actual video game combat. There isn't like a true video game from the Lone Wolf games, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get into it. Let me go ahead and show you. I'm going to show you the apps. I'll show you a little screen capture from my phone. Actually, both of these videos are going to be screen captures from my phone. They're kind of rough, so just sort of bear with me on them, and I'll hopefully we'll get the point across to you guys on what's going on here. So let's go ahead and bam, open that up. Okay, so as you see here, bam, right at the top there are the three apps: Lone Wolf Saga, and Lone Wolf. That's like really kind of crazy that there are so many, right? Let me go ahead and mute. I think I'm going to just mute that. So the thing about those is the Lone Wolf one there with a little face, the wolf howling at the moon kind of thing. That's a cool one, but that's actually the Lone Wolf New Order, which are the books 21 to 28 or something like that. Or 32, yeah. So those are the last few books. Those aren't the full saga. That's not the full set of game books. This is just the last books, the ones that were never produced in America, the ones that were only in England. So that app is cool, but it plays out the last stories, which I don't think you get through the other one. Yeah, I think this is the only way to get those stories. So Lone Wolf Saga, on the other hand, which is the one that we're actually going to show here. Lone Wolf Saga is the actual one where you can play through all of the game books. It starts you off, and this one is the one where you have to start off at the very beginning and you have to work your way through. You can't just jump to whatever favorite book you want. You actually have to work from book one onward to get to the end objective. But it has all three of the main ones that you could have read in America if you were reading them in America when you were younger, like I did. It's got the Kai series, the Magna Kai series, and the Grandmaster series. And we'll see that in a second. And then the third one, Lone Wolf, that one just shows that's the video game version of the Lone Wolf game, and I'll show you that one a little bit later. Let's just go ahead and start continue going through. So you get this thing here where you have to set up a player profile, which I actually hadn't done yet, so I went ahead and did that. You can name it whatever you want. Apparently my fingers didn't want to type with me, so I goofed that up a little bit. But basically you create your profile, and after you create your profile, you then have to actually make your character, and that's saved under your profile. So you have to roll your starting combat skill, and then it'll give you a plus 10. So the number would be 1 through 7, and the same for endurance. And then you have to choose your 5 Kai disciplines, which are the things that come up in the book. I chose tracking because you're going to need it. I chose healing because that's how you gain back hit points. Each section you go through, you gain hit points for healing. Did mind shield because there's mind blasty type stuff that happens from the enemies in this first story. Hunting because it's the one you use to like do kind of tracking stuff. I thought I could get 6 and I was dumb, and so I got rid of 6th sense, and then I chose animal kinship so I can talk to animals. These are things that I knew came up in the first book a little bit more than the other ones, so I chose that. So this is my first profile, and then it allows me to go ahead and select the game and select the first book. You see, there it is. There's a message from Mike. So then it's actually exactly like the book starts off. I thought I had one here, but I didn't. But it's exactly the opening from the book. Nothing is missing. Nothing is changed. It is exactly the opening of the book. It's the first page of the book, and so this was kind of neat because it is straight up just a transliteration of the book into a digital format, so I could play it on my phone. So after I hit proceed, it then was like, okay, well, let's give you the gear just like it kind of does in the book. And so it's like, all right, well, you want to proceed, then let's go ahead and let you know that you have an axe and a backpack, and you have some crowns, some gold coins essentially in your bag, 1 meal, and now we're going to make a random number roll to determine what else you have, and you have a map of Summerland. You need to get out of here and, get to like Holmgard if you can. So I went ahead and rolled my starting equipment, or rolled my crowns first, and I got 9, and then I rolled my starting equipment, I got a broadsword. I really would have wanted like armor, but that's not how the dice fell. And so I went ahead and just was like, okay, proceed. And then it was like, all right, your mission is dark. This is just like the book where you said this is the thing, and then it tells you all of this stuff, kind of gives you a basic explanation on how combat works. But in the app, you don't really need to understand how combat works because the app does a lot of that work for you, which is kind of neat. You can go ahead and get rid of that sort of questionable thing that you didn't know how to do. And then there it is, number 1. Like, it's like, you must make haste to make safety, et cetera, and then you have to choose what your first decision is going to be. So it's exactly like the book. I couldn't use my Kai discipline of 6th sense because I didn't have it, right? And so this is the app almost makes it a little bit superior to reading the book nowadays because you can't lie or cheat. You have to follow the game as it plays itself out in front of you. So that's all that's going on right now. I now have a dog in my room. Cool. So that's the first app that shows you the Lone Wolf game. Now I'm going to show you the actual the game. I thought this was over a little bit, so I'm not going to move it while it's still playing. Oh, it's not going to move. All right, well, cool. So anyway, this is the Lone Wolf video game for the... Oh, I'll go ahead and mute that too. It has some noise to it. I think I turned it down on my thing too. But this is the video game. Yeah, wow, it is slowing me down quite a bit. Well, anyway, essentially, you go ahead and you start a new game. I started a game earlier to make sure that it was working. You select your level of complication, and then it's going to tell you a completely new story. It is a new Lone Wolf-based story. It's not one of the game books, but it kind of has similar things to it. So you have to make your choices as to what disciplines you have. But you have to it has a thing where it makes you choose which of your stats is better. So it gives you 3 stats, which is not typical for the Lone Wolf series, but I think it's more natural in the common way that we run games. So you have to choose whether you use strength, speed, or intuition to get through stuff. I think I chose intuition. I did. And then then it's going to ask more things. It's going to ask which disciplines you have. And these disciplines were exactly the same as in the book, so they were just it gave me options at a time. So I had to choose what kinds of weapons I preferred, and I think I chose swords because I don't like the heavy weapons. Maybe I chose axes; they're fast. I didn't see because this thing's glitching out on me. But then I had to choose between 2 disciplines, and it did this all the way through until I had my 5. And so I chose between 2 options. It's here's 10 different things. We're gonna have you choose between 2. And so I had to choose. So I chose healing again because that's important. I chose, I think, Mind Shield or Mind Blast. Yep, I chose that one. I chose Weapon Skill, I believe, because Weapon Skill is better for me because I really don't do any things with the animals. And I think I chose Camouflage. No, I chose Sixth Sense. Wow, interesting. But so then it's here's your special abilities. Let's move on. And then it goes into... it shows me this little chart of what I am, and there's some stuff that goes on with it. There's some deep special abilities that it has in there. There's menus upon menus. It's very much a video game. And so I found that out later that there was ways to go deeper into it. But yeah, it interacts with you by having you do things with your phone. You have to turn your screen every now and then because some parts of it are like a video, and so right now it's doing this little video. I'll go ahead and unmute. No, nothing's coming through. Maybe it's this one. Nope, nothing's coming through. All right, sorry guys. Yeah, so there's this video about the fall of summer, well, the fall of the Dark Lords and the rise and fall of the Dark Lords and the Kai, and it gives you that sort of backstory that you get from the first book. But then it's this story takes place sometime kind of after you've beaten the Dark Lords, kind of after the game books have all taken place. And so now after you've won and you've, wielded the Summer Sword to defend all of Magnamund from the Dark Lords, you're now sort of maintaining your area around your monastery and making sure that there are no incursions going on in your space because you're defending the world, essentially. And in the story, something is going on in one of the towns nearby you, and so you decide to go check it out, and then it's that's where everything sort of goes down. It's called Blood in the Snow. And so you basically go through, it shows you how to play the game or how to read the book and you play the game. You flip pages, and then if I can jump ahead a little bit, eventually after going through the things where it shows you all the stuff going on, you meet some wolves. It brings up a cool interactive map, just like you'd expect from any video game. But then it eventually gets to the point where you end up in a fight with somebody. You find out that the Gaiacs have come in and they've gone ahead and run this town. They've destroyed this town. And so you have to save everyone. And then you get into this fight where you actually have to try to do tap encounters and try to eventually destroy this guy. And you can actually double swing and things like that. And so it's kind of a game of rock, paper, scissors where you have to sort of figure out what you're going to do. You have health. like you'd expect, and then you also have like a speed counter, so you know when you can attack. It tries to get you to like stand up and move around, so there's like some dodging that can happen. He was like beating me. I did not know what I was doing, but eventually I figured it out. So this is sort of how it goes. This is the video game aspect of it, which is interesting, but I didn't like it as much, mostly because I'm used to like reading the story and like doing what I do. So like I didn't realize I had like timed interactions. It took me a second to figure out that those little things were supposed to tell me, okay, if you draw your finger across the thing, then you'll do a second attack or something like that. It took me a minute to figure that out. Because I was like, why isn't my medium attack, which is supposed to allow me to have a second attack, working? And it's because I wasn't doing the thing. So I was like, oh, okay. But I essentially ran out of action points, and so I was like, oh, okay. And then I had to wait until like the action point counter rolled back up. And it's kind of like turn-based then in that way. So that's essentially that. And oh yeah, and I got to select like where I wanted to kind of hit on him. But anyway, I killed him. So that guy was dead, and then another one sort of comes out of nowhere, and I had to fight that guy. And that's essentially it. I mean, that's basically it. It just does that, and then eventually I won. So it's quite an interesting way to play the games out, but it was like a unique story. So what I would recommend doing is if you wanted to read the or work your way through the Lone Wolf sort of stuff, that you should start with Lone Wolf Saga and like play it out like you would normally play it out, like if you're reading it. The assistance of the app that makes it a little bit superior is that you don't have to roll the dice yourself. You don't have to randomly select numbers yourself. It does it for you. You just have to tell it to. And it does all the autocalc and stuff too. So the upside is that it does the autocalc stuff, so you don't have to know you don't have to look at the chart of like combat ratio stuff. You don't have to do that. Like the app just eases that for you. The downside is you can't lie. You will die if you don't do it right. And I actually, when I went through this the first time, so this is actually like I'm playing this on my new phone. When I did it the first time, there's a specific potion that you can use to bump up your combat skill by 4 points for a single combat. And so I drank it in book like, I don't know, book like 18 or 19 or something like that, because I was up against something and I wasn't sure I was going to win, so I totally did it. Well, the fact was, it turned out that you're supposed to hold on to that potion all the way until this certain particular fight, like 3 books after when I used it, where you're like outnumbered by Dark Lords, and the ratio is pretty high on their side. So you drink that potion real fast to bump yourself up 4 more points of combat skill, which actually puts you in like a territory where you can win decently. And so that's like a thing. But what ended up happening was, because I didn't do that, the ratio was like minus 12 or something, the maximum amount, like minus 11. And so each time, no matter how well I did on the roll, they were still crunching my life down by quite a bit. And so after like 3 or 4 rounds, I died. And I ran into this problem where like I would just like, okay, well, I just load it up again, go through like the 2 pages and then get back to that fight. I couldn't get past it. I got stuck there, and I like no matter how many times I did it, they would just crush me every time. And so then I had to like figure out what I was doing wrong. And then I read somewhere online, like on Reddit or something, where somebody was explaining that like if you drink that potion too early with this app, then you cannot beat them, and you have to wait until that fight. And I was like, oh, geez. Jeezy creasies. So that was my fault. So anyway, it's really fun. You can't fudge it though. That's essentially what I'm saying. It was really fun, and it will be really fun when I play it through again. So those are my recommendations to you. I give all of those 2 thumbs up. Lone Wolf, the one with the extra books, is kind of cool, and I went through. So I skipped because I couldn't finish the other one. I just went ahead and jumped over to that one and started playing it. It's very cool. It's very much a continuation. And then the Lone Wolf Saga, amazing, very cool. If you're not familiar with the books, you may not like it. You can change the font though. So like the font was like the thing that got me the most, but you can actually go into the options and change the font. So if you have this idea that you might want to play it, that app is perfect for it. And the other one is more like a video game. So if you kind of want to watch that or do that one, that's fine. Just be aware that it is like really interactive. Like you have to constantly pay attention, and you have to go into like sub menus to like look at stuff. Because you have at some points you get like eventually you get experience points, and you have to like kind of like an experience point kind of thing, and you can like level up some things or upgrade some stuff or gain new special things related to your disciplines and stuff, which is kind of strange and weird for me because that is definitely not how the game books work. So it's like a thing where you have to kind of pay attention. Otherwise, you don't use a resource that you have sitting around back there, that would make it easier for you to kill the Gaiac things and whatever else comes up in the video game portion of the combat. So but that's it for me. So 2 thumbs up for those, for all 3 of those. The Lone Wolf stuff is really fun for me, so I just wanted to let you guys know about them. And I hope that you guys have some good gaming experiences, and then tell me if you like the Lone Wolf stuff if you get to try it. So otherwise, have a good night.